I'm so glad to be here. It's always a joy to talk to my family. I definitely want to share some information with you and get us to thinking on the real issues. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Lancescurv show. I just came in from a pleasant night on the town, and you need that every now and then. And like I always say, you have to take yourself out on a date sometime, because nobody can do it like you. To go where you want to go, take your time, linger where you want to linger. If you want to go to a bookstore, stay 2 hours. There's no one there to rush you. If you want to just walk halfway home and take the scenic route, you can do that. And that's the beauty of taking yourself out on a date, to realign yourself with yourself. So technically, I'm a little fatigued right now, pleasantly fatigued, as pleasant thoughts race through my mind. But the bottom line is, I did what I want to do when I want to do it, how I do it. And when you're a giving person, you need at least a few hours to yourself like that to fuel up on the me energy. Well, right now, I want to read an article that I actually searched for, and it's the best article that I saw that explains things statistically. I had a stuttering moment there, excuse me. But the title of it is Black Buying Power by the Numbers, History in the Making. And this is from News One. I used to draw illustrations for them years ago. But anyway, I'm going to start the article, take my time doing it, and I really want you to absorb the information inside of it. Because so many of us, we get it twisted and we don't realize what the facts really are. And here it is. The wealth of black people in America and the gap between other racial groups has been well documented. But that doesn't mean black folks don't have any money to spend, even though the racial wealth gap is actually widening. Black people can still spend money with the best of them, statistics show. With Black History Month upon us, and this is when it was written earlier this year, so it's not an article from 5 years ago, but it was probably January of 2020. I just had to interject that. With Black History Month upon us, we take a closer look at the spending habits of Black America by the numbers. And with nearly 50 million black people in the United States, black consumers spend more than $1 trillion a year. I have to say that again. Black consumers spend more than $1 trillion a year. Nielsen, which provides analytical insights about the habits of consumers, released an in-depth look at black buying power to document the trends associated with that tremendously reliable level of spending. You see how they said it? That tremendously reliable level. At 47.8 million strong, in a buying power that's on par with many countries' gross domestic products, African Americans continue to outpace spending nationally, said Cheryl Grace, Nielsen's Senior Vice President of Community Alliances and Consumer Engagement and co-creator of the DIS report. Nielsen's report, entitled "It's in the Bag: Black Consumers' Path to Purchase," found that black buyers have especially influenced the technology market and broke down the spending habits of black consumers compared to the rest of the population at large. The spending by black consumers is especially influenced by advertising, the report found, with them being 42% more likely than the rest of the country to respond to ads on mobile. That's because, the report found, that 96% of African Americans own a smartphone, and those aged 35 plus surpass the total population in their age group by 2% for smartphone ownership. In fact, African Americans make up 23% of the total market for U.S. cellular sales, while only accounting for 14% of the overall population. Black folks also love to spend their money on beauty and grooming products, shelling out about $573.6 million on an annual basis for personal soap and bath needs. That was about 19% higher than any other demographic. We also like to spend lavishly at high-end department stores, with 63% of black folks saying in a survey they like to buy from Saks Fifth Avenue, 45% at Neiman Marcus, 45%, and 24% at Bloomingdale's. Also, counter to the current trend of shopping online, black folks prefer to spend their money in person instead of over the internet. More than half of African Americans find in-store shopping relaxing, compared to 26% of the total population. And 55% of black consumers say they enjoy wandering the store looking for new, interesting products, the Nielsen report found. When shopping, African Americans are more influenced than the total population by store staff, 34% more likely. In-store advertising, 28% more likely. And merchandising, 27% more likely. And when it comes to supporting our own, we are the first in line to buy from black-owned businesses, especially those in the beauty industry, where black folks accounted for almost 90% of the overall spend. We are also influenced by celebrities to the point that 35% of African American shoppers are more likely to agree when a celebrity designs a product, I am more likely to buy it. Food is also another shopping sector that black folks spend liberally on. According to Nielsen's report, soul food is a major driver for African American consumers' top grocery purchases, including certain brands like Quaker Grits, 19 million, Louisiana Fish Fry, 11 million, Glory Greens, frozen and fresh, 9.5 million combined. And Lay's potato chips, nearly 2.7 million. But it's not all selfish consumerism on the part of the black dollar. A study from 2012 revealed that African Americans donate a larger share of their income to charities than any other group in the nation. We have been the givers since the beginning of time. Tracy Webb, founder of Washington, D.C. based Black Benefactors, previously told News One, from our communities in Africa to the Underground Railroad and the Civil Rights Movement, Black collective giving is something that's inherent in us. With that said, Black enterprise cautioned conflating buying habits with wealth. To the degree we withhold our spending from companies that are harmful, disrespectful, or unfair to Black consumers, and intentionally direct our dollars toward companies, including Black-owned businesses that are beneficial to Black communities and value Black consumers, our spending power is important. Alfred Edmond Jr., Senior Vice President and Editor-at-Large of Black Enterprise, wrote in 2017. In other words, he continued, the ability to build wealth depends on the degree we control our spending, so that after we pay income and other taxes, and for necessities such as housing, food, transportation, we have something left over, not just to spend, but to earmark for emergency savings, retirement savings, an investment portfolio, buying real estate, beginning with our own homes, financing businesses, and acquiring other assets. Wow, that was quite an eye-opener. We are givers. We do support Black business, but especially more so when it's in the beauty industry. And what's that magic figure that I heard in the beginning? That we spend more than $1 trillion a year. But we love to go to department stores. We will more likely buy or purchase when a celebrity has made a product, which celebrities are used, and $573.6 million on an annual basis for personal soap and bath needs. That's a lot of money, y'all. Yet we get up and say how we have to come together as Black people, and we posture and we motion and we act up. But if we can only discipline ourselves with our finances, with our money collectively to a degree, let's say, $573.6 million on an annual basis for personal soap and bath needs. Now, I'm not saying that we should not purchase soap and bath needs and satisfy the bath needs, but where are we buying it from with that amount of money? $573.6 million. I'm kind of picking on that number. I'm not even picking on the whole trillion, but that alone. If we were to make a Black soap company or have a place where we can satisfy all our needs and bring that money back to us, not just to people who look like us, they might have this secret handshake going on and bring it right on back to the white community, or make sure it doesn't benefit the Black community. Now, you can argue with me on what we call it. I know it's melanated. I know we're African, those who are on this channel. I'm not here to roll around in the dirt and say who is and who isn't. You know what I'm talking about. Because no matter what you call yourself, you are who you are. And if you're melanated, you're catching hell in this country and in this world like me. When I say this country, I mean America, but I'm not there anymore. But I still care for my brothers and sisters there. But, you know, it gets to the point, and I'm sorry. I've been saying this stuff for a long time in life, and I've been saying this stuff for a long time, or the last 20 years, on social media. No, it's not that I have a disdain for my Black brothers and sisters in America. I am just tired of waiting for us to get it. When are we going to get it? When are we going to get it? I'm not saying that just money is the answer, because I'm trying to live without having to need money because I want to go into the natural system of things. But while my foot is still in the door of the system, one foot in the natural system and a part of a foot in that engineered man-made pink parasite system, still, I will get that last foot out, but I would love for many of us to, at least if you're going to be in that system, be wise with how you use your finances. And yet and still, I see so many of us superficial, the weaves, the nails, okay, but you bring it to the Asians and they get it and they're making so much money. If you're gonna do it, buy black. This is why I applaud Sister Sweetberry so much in what she's doing with her inroads into the beauty industry, because that's where the money is. And people might say, well, Lance, here you are supporting your sister who, yeah, she's black, but that's still the beauty. It's superficial. But look, it's happening anyway. Why don't we get the benefit of it? I mean, you bring your money to the pastor every week and he gets a big lump sum depending on what mega church you go to, and you brag about what you give him. So why not do something for us and redirect those funds in whatever it is that happens? They have the gambling spots on Native American property that they benefit from. They may not be gamblers, but they're going to benefit from it. And why can't we find a way to refunnel back these finances back? That's a lot of money. $1 trillion. I wonder where exactly that falls in the line of the gross domestic product of many other countries that may be smaller. I heard one time, and this was way back in the 80s, I was listening to Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable, and he said at the time that the spending of the black dollar in America amounted to being ranked, if we judged on money alone, the 11th most powerful country in the world. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I know at one point there were 194 countries in the world, and you know that there's so much going on. Maybe it's more, maybe it's a little less, but 11th? So while we may be foolish in our spending, we are powerful to other people because we bring our money to them. When are we going to learn? You know, like I said, I'm really tired of seeing the years go by and the same things go on and the same articles come out, and it's like we don't get it collectively. What do? Well, I'll never turn my back on my sisters and brothers, but I have to look out for myself at this point. I have to make sure I'm taken care of, because at the end of the day, and I've said it on other videos recently, and I'll say it on other videos in the future, Malcolm X died broke. Marcus Garvey died broke. These were real leaders that didn't say that they were leaders. They didn't have an ounce of ego in them, nor an ounce of narcissism in them. They didn't have to posture. They didn't have shady backgrounds. Although the world came at Marcus Garvey and tried to smear him and make it seem that way, they were so afraid of what he accomplished. And this is what I say, accomplished. Malcolm X was a servant of his people, and he served them well. And he made an impact, not because of himself, but because he cared. And how many of us care to speak the truth? And when you do, those who are with others get butthurt and will attack you. So I laid out the facts in this article that I found, and sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll read something and share it here, because many of us may not catch that article in particular and need to see and hear the updated facts. So all I can say is that while the world may not turn around, our black world may not turn around, because Lancescurv read an article that came out in January of 2020, All I ask is to be more mindful of your spending. And it just doesn't mean spend at black businesses. You need to check out those black businesses. Ask questions. Oops, I better be careful, because when I say ask questions, I might be called a hater. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. I've seen many establishments in my life, and I saw a few here on the motherland, where there were black faces all across the board. Come to find out, the owners of the establishment were from Lebanon. The owners of the establishment were from India. The owners of the establishment were from China. But it's nothing but black faces. And you would swear up and down you're in a progressive, self-reliant, very conscious establishment that feeds black into the black community, but it doesn't. And when I found that out, I said to myself, I could imagine what they're paying the workers, because they don't care. And it's like that all over the world. But when you have that money in your hand, you have to understand that you have power, not because the white man's dollar is powerful, but what you can do with it if you truly had a melanated mind with a purpose. And you don't need anybody else to fight that revolution that's going on in your pocketbook. So don't let low self-esteem pull you to spend in a way where you're trying to get more beautiful and get more attractive. For what? Make your bank account attractive. That's where it's really at. Why do we have to go into these stores and spend on brands and establishments and people that don't give a damn about us? Why? Why is it so important? Do we have a collective, subtle and not so subtle case of low self-esteem? Again, that we have to wear a brand like we wore a brand during slavery. We were branded with Massa's name or his numbers or whatever they use to communicate that you were property. And if you were found somewhere else, they know or knew where to bring you back to. But we're hung up on a brand, and we say the name as though that we don't have the seeds of greatness in ourselves to make a business and put our names out there. And hopefully not the European government names that were given to us, but a restored name, which if you don't know the exact bloodline, restore it anyway with an African name, because it carries a different vibration. These European names, they kill you before you get out the pocket. Don't even know who we are. Spending with people who don't like us. So if we can collectively get our money together and make youth centers for our youth, care centers for our elderly, for those who don't have family, building our own hospitals, and bringing in our own healers, not practitioners. Have our own schools where we teach our children the right way and bring up strong minds that are not compromised with the indoctrination of white criminality. So much to be done. But we care more about a damn pocketbook. We care more about a damn luxury car. We care more about our hair. Or not our hair, wearing somebody else's hair and spending great money for it, to purchase it and to have it weaved in. We are so superficial. $1 trillion, y'all. Why do our communities look the way they do if we have access to $1 trillion? Yet half of us are waiting around for a $1,200 stimulus check. 2 or 3 paychecks away from being tossed out on the curb by the landlord or that one bank that owns the mortgage, and you think because you're paying the mortgage, you own it. Don't make the payment and find out how much you own it. But we don't understand these things, and if we do, we stick our heads in the sand. And it hurts me. It hurts me that in 2020, those who look like me, while having so much money and spending power in hand, piddle it away on foolishness. I'd like to hear what you have to say about this topic. This has been something that is going on for many decades, and the number just keeps going up. I remember when it was so much billion we had. Now we got 1 trillion. That's a shock to me. And how we spend 573.6 million on personal soap and bath needs. Wow. Could you imagine what one can do with that money? Yet we are downtrodden, the low man on the totem pole, although some have made it to some measurable, what you would call success, what you would call, because of success in a system that is hell-bent on destroying us. So if we get to the edge of the crab barrel, where others are trying to pull us in, we feel they made it. Oh, they got 3 cars and a mansion, but what is it doing for everybody else, the collective? I don't know. You know, sometimes I feel like really saying some harsh words. Not harsh to be mean, but harsh because I'm tired of saying the same old things. Come on, y'all. Are we retarded? Are we developmentally delayed? Is there something wrong with us? What is wrong with us that we can't get it together? And I understand what we have been through and why most of our spirits are broken and why we are just plain old tired. I understand. But in that, being tired, we're spending $1 trillion and everybody else gets the benefit of what we've earned and what we've worked so hard for. And we're not that broken that we couldn't go out there and get it. So can we use the excuse that we are broken people as to why we spend it so fast and it doesn't circulate in our communities as it should? That's one thing this article didn't point out. It may circulate one time. It may not even circulate one time at all before we bring it to someone else to benefit from our earnings. So we're doing it to ourselves. And I'm going to be harder on us because we have greatness inside of us, and it irks me to see that we're not trying to activate that greatness. We're sitting here living a life of mediocrity and very content doing so. It doesn't fly well with me. I don't like that at all. We can do better, people. We can do so much better. And if me verbally spanking my own people, because I have the right, legal right to do so, not that I'm better, but I'm in this thing with you. And if I can pull away and make some sense of my life with all the energy that I have to redirect it so it's done in a self-sufficient way where it benefits me, there's no excuse that anyone could use to say why they can't do it. It's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of having the knowledge pushed to you and you absorbing it. It's not about books, because you know what they say. If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. But we're so quick to go on these websites, these decadent websites, and absorb that energy from it, as opposed to reading an article like this or seeking out how to improve yourself on all levels. We're speaking financial now. Why can't we do that? That's the question. So instead of propping up the next government agent in a pseudo manner because of the imagery, which I'm going to talk about that too, and running behind somebody who ain't do a damn thing for you, Like that carrot in front of the rabbit that's on the treadmill, he will run and run and run and run, and that carrot is not made to be consumed or caught by him. That's black people in America. We're running after delusions and don't understand that what's around us is not real, and what we're sold out on is not worth anything. We got to get it together. Much love. Lancescurv out. On to the next one. Peace.
Bye.